Amanda Blake will forever be remembered as the strong and graceful Miss Kitty Russell on the legendary television series Gunsmoke. For nearly 2 decades, audiences welcomed her into their homes every week as the confident saloon owner of the Long Branch in Dodge City. With her red hair, steady voice, and calm strength, she became one of the most beloved women in television history. But behind the bright studio lights and smiling publicity photos, there was another side to Amanda Blake. She was not only a talented actress, but also a woman with strong opinions, deep emotions, and at times, complicated relationships with the people around her. In the years before her death, stories began to surface about tensions she experienced during her long career. While the word hate may sound dramatic, the truth was more layered. Amanda was a passionate and outspoken woman, and when she felt hurt, ignored, or frustrated, she did not stay silent. Born Beverly Louise Neal on February 20th, 1929, in Buffalo, New York, Amanda did not grow up in Hollywood glamour. Her family later moved to Claremont, California, where her love for acting slowly began to grow. She took part in school plays and local theater productions, discovering early that she felt alive on stage. At the same time, she developed a deep love for animals, something that would later become one of the most important parts of her life. In the late 1940s, she began pursuing acting seriously and eventually signed with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, one of the most powerful studios of its time. Like many young actresses in that era, she started with small roles. Hollywood studios often tried to shape young actors into versions of established stars, and Amanda was sometimes seen as a possible replacement for actresses like Greer Garson. But Amanda had her own personality and ambition. She wanted more than just to fill someone else's shoes. Her big breakthrough came in 1955 when she was cast as Miss Kitty Russell on Gunsmoke. The show quickly became one of the most successful Western dramas ever made. Set in Dodge City, Kansas, it followed the life of Marshal Matt Dillon and the townspeople he protected. Miss Kitty was not just a background character. She was smart, independent, and emotionally strong. She often offered advice to Marshal Matt Dillon, played by James Arness, and she stood her ground in a male-dominated world. For 19 seasons, Amanda brought depth and dignity to the role. She appeared in more than 500 episodes, which made her one of the longest-running actresses on a primetime drama at that time. However, spending nearly 20 years on one show can create pressure. Long working hours, strict schedules, and the same co-workers year after year can sometimes lead to disagreements. Amanda was known for being energetic and expressive. Some of her co-stars were more reserved and quiet. Differences in personality and work style sometimes caused friction. For example, Milburn Stone, who played Doc Adams, had a calm and disciplined approach. Early on, Amanda reportedly felt overshadowed when Stone received higher billing in the credits. In Hollywood, billing order can feel very important because it reflects status and recognition. Although this tension later softened into mutual respect, it shows that even close co-workers can experience competitive feelings. Her relationship with James Arness was also layered. On screen, their chemistry was natural and powerful. Viewers often hoped that Miss Kitty and Marshal Dillon would finally confess their love. Off-screen, however, they had different personalities. Arness was known to be quiet and private, while Amanda was lively and open. Sometimes she wanted deeper emotional scenes for her character, while Arness preferred a simpler style. These creative differences did not destroy their partnership, but they did create moments of tension over the years. As the seasons passed, Amanda grew tired of the routine. By the time she left Gunsmoke after its 19th season, she felt ready for a new chapter. Many fans were heartbroken by her departure, and the show ended just one season later. Her decision marked the close of a major era in television history. Yet her story did not end there. In fact, some of the most revealing and emotional chapters of her life were still to come. After leaving Gunsmoke, Amanda Blake stepped away from the intense routine that had defined most of her adult life. For almost 20 years, she had followed strict schedules, memorized long scripts, and worked under constant pressure. While fans saw glamour and fame, the daily reality of television production was exhausting. Long shooting days under hot lights, repeated takes, and constant public attention can slowly wear down even the strongest personalities. Amanda had given her youth and energy to the show, and when she finally decided to leave after the 19th season, it was not an easy decision. Many viewers believed the series could not survive without her presence, and in many ways, they were right. The show ended one season later, closing a powerful chapter in television history. However, her departure also allowed her to reflect on her years in Hollywood. In later interviews and private conversations, Amanda reportedly spoke honestly about some of the tensions she experienced on set. While headlines sometimes use dramatic words like hate, the truth appears more complicated. Amanda was not known as a cruel or bitter person. She was strong-willed and confident, and when she felt frustrated or overlooked, she expressed it openly. In the competitive world of television, small issues can grow over time, especially when people work together for decades. One of the earliest tensions involved Milburn Stone, who played Doc Adams. Stone was older and more experienced when the show began. He carried himself with quiet confidence and discipline. Early in the series, Amanda reportedly felt disappointed that Stone received higher billing in the credits. In Hollywood, billing order can strongly affect how actors feel about their importance. Being listed earlier in the credits often means higher status and recognition. For a young actress trying to build her career, that detail mattered deeply. At times, Amanda felt that her character's importance was not fully recognized. However, as the years passed, their professional respect grew. Stone became something of a mentor, offering advice on handling fame and long-term television work. What started as frustration slowly turned into mutual admiration. Her relationship with James Arness, who played Marshall Matt Dillon, was even more complex. On screen, their chemistry was undeniable. Many viewers believed their characters shared an unspoken love. That subtle romantic tension kept audiences invested for years. Off-screen, however, Amanda and Arness had very different personalities. Arness was known to be private, calm, and somewhat reserved. Amanda, on the other hand, was expressive, social, and energetic. Creative differences sometimes appeared during rehearsals. Amanda often pushed for more emotional depth in certain scenes, wanting Miss Kitty to have stronger moments. Arness preferred a simpler, straightforward style. These differences did not destroy their working relationship, but they occasionally created quiet disagreements behind the scenes. Still, both actors respected each other's dedication to the show, and they understood that their combined talents were what made the series successful. Another name often mentioned in discussions about tension is Burt Reynolds. Before becoming a major Hollywood star, Reynolds appeared in several episodes of the show. He was young, confident, and full of bold energy. Amanda, who valued preparation and structure, sometimes found his improvisational style challenging. Reynolds liked to experiment with lines and delivery, while Amanda preferred sticking closely to the script. On a set that had operated in a steady rhythm for years, new energy could feel disruptive. Yet Amanda later acknowledged his strong screen presence and undeniable talent. Looking back, what may have seemed like arrogance at the time could also be seen as youthful confidence. There were also brief professional clashes with strong personalities such as Bette Davis, who guest starred during the show's long run. When two powerful performers share the same space, creative tension can naturally occur. However, reports suggest that these moments were professional rather than personal. Amanda respected skill and commitment, even when personalities did not fully match. Over time, these experiences shaped Amanda's understanding of Hollywood. She learned that long careers often include disagreements, but they also include growth. Behind the dramatic headlines, her story reveals something more human, a woman navigating ambition, recognition, pride, and collaboration in one of the toughest industries in the world. As Amanda Blake grew older, her life changed in many ways. The bright lights of Hollywood slowly faded, and she began to focus more on her personal life and her passions outside of acting. She became deeply involved in animal welfare and helped create one of the first successful programs for breeding cheetahs in captivity. This side of her life showed that she had a big heart and strong determination. However, Even while doing this meaningful work, she still carried memories from her long career in television. When she looked back on her years working on Gunsmoke, she felt both pride and pain. Pride because the show had made her famous and respected. Pain because of the tension, arguments, and broken friendships that had happened behind the scenes. Fame often hides the truth. Viewers only see the smiles and strong performances on screen, but they do not see the long days, the stress, and the personal conflicts that happen off camera. One important person in Amanda Blake's professional life was James Arness, who played Marshal Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke. He was the star of the show and a powerful figure on set. Many reports say that Arness and Blake respected each other deeply. They worked together for nearly 20 years, which is a very long time in television. Their on-screen chemistry helped make the show a success. However, even strong professional relationships can have moments of tension. When people work closely for many years, small disagreements can grow into larger frustrations. Long hours of filming, script changes, and pressure from producers can create stress. It is important to understand that in such an environment, emotions can sometimes run high. The world of classic Hollywood was very different from today. In the 1950s and 1960s, studios often controlled actors' lives. Contracts were strict, and actors sometimes felt trapped. They could not easily choose their roles or speak openly about their concerns. Amanda Blake, like many actors of her time, had to follow the rules of the studio system. This lack of control may have added to her frustrations. When actors feel unheard or undervalued, resentment can grow quietly over time. These feelings do not always explode in dramatic arguments. Sometimes they stay hidden for years. It is also important to consider how rumors can shape a story. After a celebrity dies, stories often appear about secret conflicts and hidden grudges. Some of these stories are true, but others are exaggerated or even completely false. Headlines like, "Before she died, Amanda Blake names the 5 actors she hated the most," create strong curiosity. They make readers imagine dramatic confessions and shocking secrets. But real life is usually more complex. Relationships are rarely pure love or pure hate. Most are a mix of respect, disappointment, friendship, and misunderstanding. As Amanda Blake's health declined in the late 1980s, she faced serious medical challenges. She was diagnosed with oral cancer, and her condition became worse over time. In 1989, she passed away at the age of 60. Her death was widely reported, and fans around the world mourned her. After her passing, discussions about her life and career became more intense. People wanted to know more about the real woman behind the character of Miss Kitty. They searched for hidden stories and untold truths. This is often what happens when a beloved star dies. The public feels both sadness and curiosity. Looking back today, it is important to treat Amanda Blake's memory with respect. She was a talented actress who helped shape one of the longest-running Western shows in television history. Her work on Gunsmoke left a lasting mark on American entertainment. While there may have been disagreements or tensions during her career, these moments should be seen as part of a larger human story. No workplace is perfect, especially not one under the pressure of national fame. Amanda Blake was not just a character in a headline. She was a person with strengths, flaws, dreams, and disappointments. In the end, the idea that she hated 5 actors may be more dramatic than accurate. It is possible that she felt hurt, disappointed, or frustrated by certain people she worked with. But hate is a strong word. Real life is rarely so simple. Amanda Blake's legacy should be remembered not for rumors of conflict, but for her dedication to her craft, her love for animals, and the powerful presence she brought to the screen. When people talk about tension on the set of Gunsmoke, they often forget how long the show actually ran. Premiering in 1955 and continuing until 1975, it became one of the longest-running primetime dramas in American television history. Working on the same show for 20 years can feel like being in a long marriage. At first, everything is new and exciting. The actors are full of hope and energy. They are grateful for the opportunity and focused on proving themselves. But as the years pass, small issues can slowly build up. Long hours, Repeated storylines and changes in the industry can create frustration. For Amanda Blake, playing Miss Kitty Russell was both a blessing and a challenge. The role made her famous, but it also tied her closely to one character. Many actors struggle with this. They fear being remembered for only one role, even if that role is beloved. One of the most discussed figures connected to the show was Dennis Weaver, who played Chester Good. Weaver was part of the original cast and quickly became a fan favorite. However, he eventually left the show in 1964 to pursue other opportunities. Leaving a successful series can create mixed emotions among the remaining cast members. Some may feel happy for their colleague. Others may feel abandoned or even jealous. While there is no clear proof that Amanda Blake held deep resentment toward Weaver, fans often speculate about how departures like this affected relationships on set. When a long-running cast member leaves, it changes the balance of the group. The chemistry shifts and everyone must adjust. Another important name is Milburn Stone, who played Doc Adams. Stone was known for his strong personality and professional discipline. In interviews, he sometimes spoke openly about his opinions. In a workplace filled with creative people, strong personalities can clash. Actors may disagree about scenes, character development, or even personal matters. These disagreements do not always mean hatred. Often, they are simply part of working in a high-pressure creative field. But when stories are retold years later, normal disagreements can be turned into dramatic rivalries. It is also important to think about how media headlines shape public opinion. Words like hated are powerful. They create strong emotions and make people curious. However, in many cases, what may have been simple professional disagreements are later described in extreme language. If Amanda Blake ever expressed disappointment or frustration about certain co-stars, it may have been during private conversations or interviews where emotions were running high. Over time, these words can be taken out of context. The audience then imagines serious conflicts that may not have been as dramatic as they seem. As Amanda Blake's career slowed down after Gunsmoke ended, she faced the same struggle many television actors experience. Finding new roles after playing one character for many years can be very difficult. Casting directors often see the actor only as that famous role. This can create feelings of limitation and regret. It is possible that when she looked back on her career, she thought about opportunities she did not get or changes she wished had happened. In moments of reflection, people sometimes speak honestly about their disappointments. These honest words can later be interpreted as bitterness. In her final years, Amanda Blake focused more on her personal interests, especially animal protection. She moved away from the fast life of Hollywood and spent time working with wildlife organizations. This shift shows that she was more than just an actress. She was a woman who cared deeply about causes that mattered to her. When people look at her entire life, it becomes clear that her story is larger than any rumor about conflicts with co-stars. Her legacy includes not only her acting but also her compassion and dedication outside the spotlight. In the end, stories about 5 actors she hated should be viewed carefully. Without clear, direct statements from Amanda Blake herself, such claims remain uncertain. It is natural for audiences to be curious about behind-the-scenes drama. But it is also important to remember that actors are human beings. They experience normal emotions like stress, frustration, and disagreement. These feelings do not always equal hate. Amanda Blake's life was filled with success, challenges, growth, and change. Reducing her story to a list of enemies may overlook the deeper and more meaningful parts of who she truly was. As the years passed after Gunsmoke ended, many fans continued to wonder what life had truly been like behind the scenes of such a famous show. The series itself, Gunsmoke, was more than just entertainment. It became a part of American culture. Families gathered around their televisions every week to watch Marshal Matt Dillon bring justice to Dodge City. Miss Kitty, played by Amanda Blake, was one of the strongest female characters on television at the time. She was confident, intelligent, and independent. For many viewers, she represented strength in a world that was often shown as rough and male-dominated. Because of this, Amanda Blake carried a heavy responsibility. She was not just acting. She was shaping how women were seen on television. Working on such an important show could create pressure. Over time, That pressure can change how people feel about their work and even about their co-stars. When actors begin a series, they often form close friendships. They spend long hours rehearsing, filming, and traveling for promotion. They celebrate successes together and support each other during difficult times. But as seasons continue year after year, personal goals can change. Some actors want to explore new roles. Others want higher pay or more control over their characters. These desires can sometimes lead to disagreements. Even small arguments, when repeated over many years, can slowly damage relationships. Another cast member who joined later was Ken Curtis, who played Festus Hagen. Curtis brought a different energy to the show after Dennis Weaver left. His character was rough, funny, and memorable. However, anytime a new actor joins an established cast, there can be tension. The group dynamic shifts. Existing cast members may feel protective of their roles. They may worry about losing screen time or importance in story. It does not mean they dislike the new actor personally. Often, it is simply fear of change. In a competitive industry like television, change can feel threatening. Amanda Blake was known to be strong-willed and honest. She did not always hide her opinions. In Hollywood, honesty can sometimes be misunderstood. If she ever expressed frustration about storylines or coworkers, those comments may have been taken more seriously than she intended. When interviews are published, small statements can turn into big headlines. Over time, fans may believe that serious conflicts existed, even if the reality was much smaller. It is important to remember that actors are human. They can feel tired, stressed, or disappointed, just like anyone else. The idea that she named 5 actors she hated may come from interviews that were shortened or misunderstood. Media outlets often focus on dramatic words because drama attracts attention. But strong words do not always represent deep hatred. Sometimes they reflect a moment of anger or frustration. If Amanda Blake did speak critically about someone, it might have been during a specific time when emotions were high. Years later, that moment can appear larger than it truly was. In her later life, Amanda Blake focused less on Hollywood and more on causes that mattered to her heart. She dedicated time and energy to animal welfare projects. She worked to protect wildlife and helped raise awareness about endangered species. This part of her life shows compassion and purpose. It reminds us that her identity was not limited to television fame. She evolved as a person.